Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today, if you read the title, I'm going to be building a Leslie rotor cabinet for my Nord here. There's a little backstory behind it. Got an old organ off Facebook Marketplace, full of mold, had a built-in Leslie, ripped that guy out, and a few months ago, I started building the cab already. I built the frame for it, painted red to match the sides of the Nord here, and used some black frames to piece it together, and then I shoved the Leslie into the middle of the cabinet. At which point, I ran out of money and got bored. But here I am a few months later. I'm going to go ahead and finish it because a lot of the grunt work still is yet to be done. I got to do the electronics, I got to do the front and back framing, and make it operate. So I thought it'd be fun to take you guys on the journey of finishing up this Leslie cab for you guys, and I hope you enjoy. So as you can see here, we'll start with the Leslie. I believe it's a model M something. It was built for in-home use. There you can see the control panel I ripped out to get the knob to use on the cab that I'm building. If we pull the back off here, you can see it's full of mold. I didn't want that. But the Leslie was there in front of that big porthole, was where the drum spun. So I ripped that out, and then as you can see here, I put it inside this frame I built. Now the goal was I wanted to make the frame match the Nord. So I painted it red and used black accents around the edge. So I got started with that. But now to pick up where I left off a few months ago, I'm going to go ahead and try to start with the back panel, where I want to put the speaker jack port, the power cable port, and the knob to use the rotary speed with. So here you can see I'm sizing it up, trying to make sure it fits inside of the cabinet. Making some marks and adjustments here. This part is always hard because I try to go with what the size of the cab is, and I trace it. And here I'm using a straight edge to make sure my line is straight. But part of the problem is that I don't have proper woodworking tools and equipment, so I'm really just trying to make this work with a handheld circular saw. So the cabinet is not like perfect and it's a little uneven, so I'm trying to make sure that I get the contour and shape of the sides of the back panel by tracing it from the inside of the cabinet. See here, I got the line finally. Set it down, I'll start making my marks. And then here I'm going ahead and trimming the pieces. It's very hard. The circular saws I have are kind of old. They don't really work that well. But as you can see, I'm making it work for what I need. Really just wanted to get this cabinet done. After I make my cuts, I go ahead and sand the piece down so that's nice and smooth. Try to get the pores down as close and as smooth as I can to the wood surface. So here I realized that the piece of wood that I was using does not exactly fit. It's a little too short. So what I went ahead and did is I found some scrap wood that I wanted to go ahead and cut to the size of the back panel. And then I wanted to screw it into the back panel to give it some extra height. But what that would also do is create this cool little indent effect so that the top half of the back panel was like a 3/4 of an inch inlaid into the cabinet. And then that's where I figured I would put my speaker controls and my power cable jack port. I just thought it would look cooler, and it really, as you can see here, fixes the situation where there's that big hole on the top. So here I was trying to get the measurements. I went ahead after I did that. I started to use the drill, and here is where I came into the first issue of this build. My drill sucks. As you can see, the motor is kind of gone slow. I think the batteries are dead, but the drill is so old, I don't know if I could get the same battery that this model uses anymore, at least new, which is what I would like to do. So here I'm really trying to get the screws screwed in, but I think this is when I realized I might need to go out and buy a new drill. A little foreshadowing there. Here I've got the hole driller bit. I'm trying to drill a little hole for the rotary knob to go into. And then here I start trying to drill the hole for the speaker port, or the speaker jack. But as you can see, it just slows down before it even gets into the wood. And I believe the second I hit the wood here, it just kind of kicks, and then the motor just stops spinning there, yeah. So that was unfortunate. I spent a while trying to figure out what to do next. I decided to try and go at it with a chisel I found. Did not work. I'm not a woodworker. I don't know how to make these things work, but I'm really trying here. Living that DIY lifestyle, as you can see. But I realized that wasn't going to work and that I was just going to have to go get a new drill. So before I went to get a drill, I figured maybe I'd paint these pieces up to the black that I want before I leave so that they have time to dry before I get back, and then maybe even the next day I could finish it up. So in that realization, I figured I'd also get the front figured out. So I have some speaker mesh that I wanted to mount up to the front, so I'm going to build a frame here to mount the mesh to. So what I'm doing with the circular saw actually is I got this piece of wood here that I'm going to go ahead and try to saw out the inside. So I had to pick up the blade guard and kind of push it into the center of the wood, but I'm going to cut out this nice little square so that when I mount the mesh to it, there's a big hole for the sound to come out. Here you can see I'm trying to get it out here. Got it with the hammer, 1, 2. Give it a few more whacks. Makes me feel nice and strong. Last one, boop, there it is. Very impressed with myself, as you can see. Now, I'm having the same issue with the front where this piece of wood just is not the full height, but I don't think that's going to be much of an issue because I still have some more scrap wood that I want to use. So what I'm going to do is make a little 2x4 piece for the bottom and the top so that I'll mount that in there, and then I'll put Velcro on the top and bottom halves of those frames that I can mount the piece onto. And then that would also create this nice little effect where there's like the mesh is on top of everything else. And you'll see in the final result, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, but here I'm cutting out the pieces to make sure they fit. Trim them down a little bit to make sure that they go on the top and don't really cover the drum that much. Because I do want to make sure that the sound from the drum is coming out of the little hole in the middle, that square I cut out there on the floor. And here you can see I'm sizing it up, making sure it fits in there. So after that, I go ahead and I sweep up all the dust I made, and I'm going to go ahead and put that blanket back down because I laid it down before I painted, and then I realized I wasn't ready to paint yet. Here it is, going to shake out all the dust. I got a lot of dust on it. As you can tell probably from the nature of this video, not a lot of planning ahead went into this. I just really wanted to get it done. So here finally I'm getting to staining the pieces a nice dark black color, really laying it on there thick. This is going to mostly be covered up, so I'm not too concerned with how good it looks. I just want to make sure that it's black, if that makes any sense. Make sure all the corners are covered. I do the inside and the backs, even though you're never going to see those because they're getting mounted in there. It's just gives me peace of mind to make sure that you aren't going to see any little unpainted wood. And along those lines, you can see here I had some exposed unpainted wood on the inside here that I'm just covering up just to make everything look nice and uniform. Giving everything a second coat. Going for the back of the main piece here. So then that was when I decided to go to get a drill. Got my car, went over to the nice Walmart nearby. Waltzed on in, found the cheapest drill I could get because I'm not looking to spend a lot of money, and found this guy for 30 bucks. So then I came back, pieces were still wet, so I went ahead and waited until the next day to finish this up. Had to move to the other side of the garage now, but here you can see I'm getting the pieces built in, hammering them onto some exposed nails that were already in there. I put wood glue on the bottom sides too, kind of hooked them in there. And then I go ahead and you can see in a minute, I drill them into place just a little bit, just to make sure they're not really going anywhere. But once their glue is on there and it solidifies, it should be strong enough for what I need. So here, after I finished that up, I brought everything down to the basement to finish up because it was raining outside, it was kind of cold. But I brought everything down here to finish up. So here I got the speaker mesh, and I'm going to go ahead and staple it to the frame here. As you can see, a little. This turned out a lot better than I thought it would. I was worried that the mesh wasn't going to work in my favor, but it was really easy to cut down to shape. And once I got it wrapped around the side here and stapled it in, it really looked pretty good. Here we go again. As you can tell, I'm having a lot of fun. I really like using the staple gun. It's a fun little device. It makes me feel powerful. But here's the front, and here I will size it up, and as you can see. So right for the intended look I was going for, so I was pretty happy. As you can see, it fits right up against the top there, and then the bottom has that exposed little bit of the black wood that I was using to create another indent effect, kind of similar to the back, so the whole piece is kind of uniform then. And here I'm getting the Velcro I've got. I'm going to lay it on there, make sure that I can do that, because I do want the mesh to be able to come off if I need to, like if I'm miking it up in the studio or something. So I thought that would be a good idea. Here I'm stapling. It does have really strong construction grade adhesive, it claims, but the staples make me feel a bit more confident in the ability of the Velcro to stay attached. So I went ahead and put the spiky side on the mesh there, and I went ahead with the soft side of the Velcro onto the cabinet itself. I actually thought about that. I was a little worried that if I put the spiky side of the Velcro on the cabinet, it would also latch onto the mesh and eventually pull the mesh off of the wood frame and over time make it look bad. So I was hoping that this way everything would stay intact. And so far it's been working out for me. So I think I made a good choice there. The cool thing too is that the soft side of the Velcro actually looks good aesthetically, so I was pretty happy with putting it on there. That was a nice little side benefit that I wasn't really thinking would happen. So here I'm finally getting to soldering all the electronics into place here. It really isn't that complicated of a situation going on down here. So what we've got here is a speaker port jack that I'm wiring directly into the speaker, the Leslie. So this will be a passive cabinet, which kind of is to my detriment, I believe now, looking back on things. But amps are expensive. I don't know how to build them, so I think eventually I'd just like to get my own Leslie head for the cabinet, which would be nice. So we've got that going on. And then for the power situation, the motor on the Leslie is a DC motor, which is kind of hard to work with, but it takes 120 volts, which is nothing I've ever worked with. So I'm not going to go ahead and recommend doing what I do here because it's pretty janky and I'm not a certified electrician. But what I did do here is I've got a ceiling fan speed controller dial, like for the wall. So I went ahead and picked that up. That was like 20 bucks at Lowe's. And what I did was I wired that directly into the motor of the Leslie because that's basically what a ceiling fan is. And they're all taking 120 volts from the wall. Then I went ahead and wired that through an IEC connector that I bought with a little fuse in it, just in case anything happens, an extra layer of protection. But basically you just plug in a PC power cable and the motor can start spinning when you turn the ceiling fan knob. And so with that, here is the Leslie cab, nice and finished, a little 360. So you can see I'm really happy with the color I got on the red there. Really matches my keyboard nice. Here is what the back ended up looking like. As you can see up top right, we've got the power port, little speaker jack in the middle there, and then top left is the control knob for the rotary. Coming all the way around here. I'm pretty happy with the design. It's very clean. I think it looks all right for what I was able to accomplish. Here you can see. Velcro comes right off, and then we've just got the access to the drum right there. Better acoustics in certain situations. And this just goes right back up there. Cover it up and we're back to the nice Nord look of the amp. So here I'm going to start hooking up the Leslie to give you guys a little preview of what it actually sounds like. Because I don't have a head, I'm going to go ahead and use a powered mixing board that I have just to make the speaker sound. So unfortunately, the sound coming out is going to be a little distorted and not as good as it could be. But I thought I'd take this moment to discuss some of the things I wish I had done differently. On that, I wish I had upgraded the speaker in the rotary cabinet. I think that would have helped out with the sound a lot. But that's not something I can't do in the future because the back is removable, so I could get in there and just pull the speaker off and put a new one in, which would be nice one day. I also wish I had a wood shop, if you wouldn't believe that. While I am very happy with the result and the final look of the cabinet, it does look amateur and homemade, and I wish I had some proper tools to make it look a bit more professional. But for doing a DIY little thing with a free moldy organ I got on Facebook Marketplace, I can't complain. So yeah, I mean, all in all, I'm pretty happy with the build. I think it still has some things I could do better. Again, I think getting a Leslie head would be nice just to have its own separate control. Or even one day, if I get there, build it into the back of the cab so it's all just one combo unit. But I believe it's going to sound pretty good. I'm happy with the way it looks for the dumb tools that I was using and using improper tools for the job. And for figuring out how to wire it up myself without much help from other people aside from the internet, it works. So I'm pretty happy about that. So yeah, with that, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you learned something or got inspiration to make your own little device of some kind for your musical endeavors. If you guys enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. That would really help me out. I do plan on having more videos coming out, stuff like this in the future. I think I'm going to build some pedal boards. But until then, enjoy this little demo of how the Leslie sounds.